Hello, my name is Chris Bennett, and I'm making this video for some of my friends that I went to high school with, and kindergarten through 6th grade, and in between. Um, Eric Norris, Zafri, I think you were there too. Chuck Norris's son. I started with him in kindergarten, I think, around kindergarten, or I started at kindergarten at Rancho Vista Elementary School, and let's see, Eric either started then or soon after. Heidi Markel was there. Let's see, Mark Summer, Jeff Cox. Who else in elementary school? Shoot, there's a bunch of them. Kathy Knoll, were you there? You know, I think you were. You might even be in one of my classes. Darn, I gotta find that picture because I have it. So this is about something we all have in common. Something super critical, more important than anything in your life or the life of anybody you know and care about in your family or friends. It's your health. So we all have in common, from birth until the end, we have to go into those doctor's offices, into the medical system. So my father, when I was growing up, he was founded at UCLA, Harbor UCLA, in South Bay area. He opened up the first kidney dialysis clinic. And Tim Wall, you know him, he was in high school with me at least, Merrill Est. And so my father was his doctor, and he had kidney disease. His kidneys were failing. And so my dad was a pioneer in that field. He was the first person to do dialysis at the UC system at UCLA back in the early 1960s, when he was, maybe that might have been by 1970, I'm not sure. So he also did the first closed chest massage. Before that, if somebody had a heart attack, they had to cut it open, split open the ribs, reach inside and massage the heart to get it going again. And they almost never survived that. So my dad did the first closed chest massage, and it was successful. And then he wrote a peer-reviewed paper about it, and it was published. So he was a real pioneer. So he was treating Nort Wall, and I've got his diary from 1977. Yes, I'm pretty sure. So he was right in there, Nort Wall, at least 10 times or more. So he was trying to save him, but with only dialysis and no transplant, people can only last, I'm not sure, a year or 2 or 3. So unfortunately, Tim lost his dad. And so we were friends back then because we lived next door for a while, but then I kind of lost track of him. So I saw him at the reunion. So, but because my dad's friend, he was, trying to save his friend, that motivated him to really look for the solution. So he discovered the real cause and cure of most kidney failure. So millions of people lose their kidneys, like Selena Gomez, and she had to get a transplant. But she still has the problem that destroyed her kidneys, and so she might lose them again. And we're going to be inviting her and her friends to find out what the real underlying cause is and the cure of the problem. So that's what this is about, and I'm going to try to do it really fast because the sun just is going down. I'm in my backyard here in Southern California, Riverside. I've got a bare bones budget. See, it's a long story, but things are coming together now. So over the last 20 years I've been working on this, 25 years, I've gotten through to some incredible people who are ready to work with me. Ed Asner in 2006, Tracy Reiner in 2016, but then something happened that derailed it. But now I'm lining it all up again. Tracy Reiner's definitely involved. Chuck Norris, I've been sending messages. I talked to Eric about it 10 years ago. I dropped off my proposal at Chuck's Ranch 2 or 3 years ago in Houston. And I've been emailing his brother, Aaron Norris, for the last 10 years, and I've gotten a dozen receipts from him. So they know what I'm working on. It's a healthy living reality TV show. So we're gonna have 10 celebrity men and 10 celebrity women going through a healthy living experience. My dad was the founding medical director. After, while he was trying to save Nort Wall, he learned about Nathan Pritikin, who was doing seminars up in Santa Barbara at a hotel. And he was successfully having people exercise and eat right, maybe reduce their stress, and then bring their blood pressure down, their high cholesterol, lose weight, high blood sugar, and get off all the drugs. And so my dad got really excited about it. So he brought in the investor, they bought a hotel in Santa Monica Beach, and then they opened the Pritikin Longevity Center. And it's now the longest profitable residential healthy living program in the world. Now it moved to Miami. It's in a Trump hotel on Miami Beach. And he's been really pissed off because he wanted to raise the rent, okay? And he didn't like a bunch of, well, that's what the news report said. Okay, I won't even say that, okay? He wanted a bunch of party animals, bottom line. He didn't want a bunch of healthy eating people and, no potato chips or french fries in one section. I don't know. But anyway, Chuck Norris, there's his book from a long time ago about his brother and he were in the Vietnam War. And but he's got another book that came out in 2008 when I started trying to contact him soon after that. It's called Black Belt Patriotism, and he wrote in there that millions of Americans are suffering and dying from illnesses which are reversible with healthy living. And we've got to come together, America, and make some massive changes. Because our leaders in the medical system puts everybody on drugs, and then it leads to illnesses, and your health goes down, and then an early grave. So what I've been working on is, blowing a whistle, okay? That our parents especially are getting put on a bunch of drugs, and doesn't really work. So Dr. Dean Ornish, he figured this out back in the 1990s after my dad. Apparently, he may have learned from my dad. If you look on my YouTube channel, I called into Dr. Drew Pinsky twice. And one time I told him about my dad and the Pritikin Longevity Center, and he said, oh yeah, when I was in medical school, we heard all about the Pritikin Longevity Center, and it kind of demonstrated to the whole medical system what everybody knows now, that healthy eating and exercise and everything can, reverse the illnesses. And I'm paraphrasing, he said something like that. So now everybody knows it, but nobody does it. Okay, so I found out why and how to fix the problem. We're gonna get to that. So, but I tried to get Dean Ornish back in 2003, along with my dad, into the White House with my dad's book. I'm gonna get to that. So, in 12 weeks, you can control your high blood pressure without drugs. This 12-week program can reverse most illnesses, just like Dean Ornish wrote here. His program can reverse most illnesses. Reverse most chronic diseases. Okay, so, I contacted him. I was working on bringing everybody into the White House. It's important for you to know because your parents are all in Medicare now, and they're all getting a bunch of drugs, like 5, 10, 15, 20, and their health is going downhill. But if they were going to the Pritikin Longevity Center for a month or two, they could get off most of those drugs and live an extra 10 or 20 years, and you wouldn't have to watch them suffer and fall apart right in front of you. So, let's see. Alzheimer's. So my dad develop Alzheimer's 7 years ago. This is The End of Alzheimer's by Dr. Dale Bredesen at UCLA and UC San Francisco. So it came out in 2017. So a little bit after that, my dad developed dementia, and I didn't know about the book. Okay. Maria Shriver endorsed it, and he's on the board of directors for Maria Shriver's End Alzheimer's Foundation. Dr. Mark Hyman endorsed it. I'll talk about him later. So I've talked to him, been communicating for 3 years. He wants to work with us. At UCLA, they have 1,000 dementia patients that are supposed to go through his program, and $40 million to explore alternative therapies like healthy living, exercise, etc. But it's been like stopped up in the system for about 2 years. Okay, but we're coming together again to try to do it again. So I've got 2 professors there that are overseeing, you know, him included. These 1,000 patients are involved with them, and they want to do it. Okay, the other guy needs a little more convincing. So let's see. So my dad developed dementia, but then, you know, I brought in, my mom had divorced him a long time ago when I was 10 years old. So she moved in with him, I did. We started taking care of him, exercise, a better diet, stress reduction, and we totally halted it. I've got videos of him. He was incredible. He was, you know, he'd been kind of angry, you know, his whole life, and resentful at his family for no reason. Okay, that's another story in a minute. But it totally halted. But unfortunately, a few years later, he got poisoned by bad drugs in the medical system, and then we had him here for 2 years, unable to walk, suffering, taking care of him alone. They wouldn't pay for the treatment to reverse it, and he suffered until he died. It was really upsetting. Okay, I want to avoid that for your family members, especially your senior parents. So Dale Bredesen has an infomercial all over the country. Just turn on the TV and you can find it on cable, etc. And I made it, you know, I've been talking about a deal with him, and we're gonna open up these programs like the Pritikin program where we could fill it up really fast, and it's gonna be paid for by Medicare. I'm lining that up. So I gave my proposal to Robert Kennedy 6 months ago in person. I got a picture with him, and I got a video, part of his presentation that I was at, and he wants to help. So, but it's gonna get even more and more exciting. I'm gonna get to that. Why are we all getting high blood pressure? 95% of Americans get high blood pressure. That means you are gonna get it, probably. 50% of American adults have hypertension right now. It means you or somebody you know has it. So I found out it's all a matter of toxic stress overload, and the cure is, you know, in my dad's program, you identify the things that are irritating you and bothering you. You know, you come together with a team of advisors, in some cases financial, etc., to, you know, clear it all up. Number 2, good news therapy. If you get, you know, big investment, big project that takes off, you're really excited about it, that's another way. Okay, so, which everybody I'm talking to right now, I'm inviting you to be rich in a very short period of time by joining this project. And you're going to be convinced by the end of this video, I hope. So, things are lining up for me. Heidi Markel, I saw her, I think she was in our class. See, we all have some interesting history. Okay, I can remember her, she remembers me. I saw her at the reunion, and then at the after party, we spent a little time together. It was really cool. I saw her at the 20-year reunion with Christine Gervais and Kathy Knoll. The 3 of them walked out together, and I said hi to all of them. But another one of our friends at the reunion, think her name was Kathy Hogan. She was really not doing well. I hope she's doing a lot better. But she had developed arthritis and been put on a bunch of drugs that made her really sick. Okay, so back in 2003, I met her. At the same time, I was connecting with Dr. Dean Ornish. My dad was working at Healthcare Partners Medical Group, one of the largest private groups in the country of doctors, which he was one of the founders of, and a big stockholder. Okay, so he developed a heart problem, and his doctor put him on drugs. His doctor at UCLA, his doctor at Healthcare Partners. Over like a year, he was getting sicker and sicker, and it was getting worse and worse. And they said, you're gonna need heart surgery, and it scared the hell out of me. So I started going to UCLA's medical library to update his book, and I also ended up copying a big stack of documents and studies that said it was caused by stress. And so he's working 70 hours a week, taking care of like nursing home patients that were all suffering and dying from taking a bunch of drugs, and then they were dying, and the family members were coming in and crying and arguing, and it was highly stressful. 70 hours a week, like multiple 7 nursing homes, I think. Okay, so I said, Dad, it's caused by stress. So he immediately retired and cashed out and got $4 or $5 million and put it into our foundation. The name was No More Medicines. Okay, prevention, not pills. Healthy living, not pills. So, I met this guy, Bar McClellan, and his son was running the medical system. He was running the FDA in March 2003. So I sent him my dad's book from Amazon. It says, Bar, I sent you a copy of Dr. Bennett's book via Amazon. We only have used copies at this time. One of the important chapters is entitled The White Lab Coat. It details his experience of searching for cures to illnesses only to discover that the pills had worse side effects than the diseases themselves. Excuse me, I'm like freaking out. Then he learned that most illness is preventable or curable with lifestyle changes like stress reduction, eliminating addictions, exercise, and eating healthy food. The studies attached at the bottom of this email are an example of the proven benefits of these programs. The results in those studies were confirmed by Dr. Bennett when he worked with Pritikin as the first medical director for the Pritikin Longevity Center. I have several friends who have become crippled by the fact that this information is not being factored into everyday medical practice. I am writing a longer email with details. I hope to get their cases heard and to get this program set up so that they can go through it and get weaned off the toxic drugs which they are now slaves to. One friend is age 39. Okay, sorry I said her name. Okay, but this is like 400 million Americans are facing this system. She was a student at UCLA, then went back when she developed a pain in her joints. The doctors prescribed drugs which escalated to OxyContin. Okay, we're gonna find her to watch this before we make it public. Okay, it's only going to like a few friends. The OxyContin almost killed her. Today she must take a dozen drugs to suppress the massive amounts of pain and severe headaches. So she went to the reunion. That's how I met her. These doctors are completely uninformed about the causes of illness, which makes them uninformed about the cures. Dr. Bennett wrote about the utility of diet, exercise, and stress reduction in his book. He saw people greatly improve in the Pritikin program. Being a lawyer, you'll be knowledgeable about the doctrine of informed consent, which is not being followed by doctors. This problem is rampant in medicine. It almost killed my father too. He developed atrial fibrillation, a potentially fatal heart problem. The 2 doctors, one from UCLA, failed to inform him that his incredibly stressful life was probably the cause. He found out when I went to the UCLA library and spent a month copying a 3-inch stack of peer-reviewed journal articles which explain that stress is the trigger for the problem. It is intimately involved. My father changed his life to reduce the stress, but by that time the condition had become permanent. I learned that each time the problem occurs, it remodels the heart. It's called atrial flutter fibrillation. The doctors warned him that if it continued occurring, he might need an operation, which his doctor had also pioneered, Dr. David Canham. You're going to hear all about him, and you're really going to... There are some easy solutions to these problems, but they require close scrutiny and a willingness to consider change. They require a thorough discussion and a commitment to confront uncomfortable realities. Inconvenient Truths, was that Al Gore's book? We're going to talk about that. He's invited. Okay, he's got a lot of information, highly relevant. So I spoke to my friend about your book. He agrees with it. Oh, that's different. We're going to talk about that. I recorded some interesting events on C-SPAN. Let's see. Okay, that's not relevant. Okay, Chris, I have it, and thank you. So you got the book. I've alerted Mark to your interest, but he is between jobs and overwhelmed. I anticipate an answer by the end of the next week. So he was going from running the FDA to running Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare, which puts millions of seniors on a bunch of drugs instead of healthy living solutions, because it won't pay for it. Dean Ornish begged and pleaded. He testified to this Congress in 1999. Then he begged and pleaded for the next 10 years. Finally, they barely covered his program and the Pritikin program, but only if you had a really bad heart attack, and it only covers like 70% of it, so you got to pay a big copay. Okay, so it's a long letter here I wrote to him, which I'm sure he got. Then there was one other email from him, which I don't see right now. Okay, but okay, here's what's going to really blow your mind. Really, really, really. So Heidi Markel. So I saw her. Let me tie it into Starlight. So there's about 10 or so of my classmates, Kathy Knoll, who are in a Facebook group I'm calling Mission Starlight. So my other project is called The Mission, which I got into Obama's team in 2008. PJ Crowley loved the idea. He was from the Clinton administration. Okay, so he loved the idea. I got a long letter from him saying, I want you to meet this guy and this person, and I want to help you. It's a fantastic idea, getting everybody healthy in America, creating a TV show to get everybody healthy in America. So we're going to have 100 people go through a healthy living program like in that Trump hotel in Miami Beach, videotape the whole thing, show everybody in America how to get healthy, and show all the doctors how to do it. Okay, then PJ Crowley became Deputy Secretary of State under Hillary Clinton, and then I never heard from him again. John Podesta appointed, who also got my letter and everything, because PJ Crowley was working under him. Okay, he appointed his friend to run the FDA, and her husband earned billions and billions of dollars trading stock in the Renaissance Fund. There, I said it. Okay, these are the harsh realities you have to understand about why millions of Americans are getting, in Medicare, are getting 16 drugs in bad combinations. So, I've got a video on my YouTube channel. President Biden, President Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Senator Rockefeller, Javier Becerra, etc., etc., etc. 19 of our top leaders running the medical system since 2008, and 10 years or 20 years before, Henry Waxman. Millions of seniors are taking 16 drugs in bad combinations. It's poisoning them and sickening them and killing them and bankrupting Medicare. We really got to fix it, you guys, or we're going to rue the day. Okay, so Tracy Reiner started helping with that when I posted that 10 years ago in 2016. Well, we got derailed, but we're coming back together to fix that problem. Okay, are you in or you out? Are you in or you out? Okay, like I said, we're all going through the medical system. If you lost your family members, any family members or parents since 2003, well, Bar McClellan, I just talked to him a few months ago. He's 89 now, but he's ready to go. He's on board. He'll talk to his sons again. His other son, Scott McClellan, was President Bush's press secretary for the whole time, I think. So he's going to talk to him again. How come you didn't want to do this back then? He was at Stanford University teaching for a while, where Hillary Hupp is now. I contacted Hillary Hupp a few years ago about this, but I haven't heard back from her yet. So she's at Stanford University, involved with billions and billions of dollars of their endowment. And so I contacted her. I saw her at the reunion 2 years ago. You know, I walked in and I said, "Oh, hi, Hillary. Wow, you look fantastic. Did you just get a haircut?" Because it was perfect. She smiled and she said, "I sure did. I just got a haircut." And I said, "Well, darn it. I just got a haircut. I'm on my way driving here." And so for some reason, I just knew it. Anyway, darn, it's starting to get dark, isn't it? The picture still looks pretty good. Okay, let me see if I can get through this before I can't see anything. Okay, because I feel like I'm rocking and rolling. Okay, why is Willie here in my hand? Willie Nelson. So, Heidi Markel's sister is Willie Nelson's grandson's agent. I think it's his grandson. So, I got to know Willie Nelson's brother-in-law when I moved to Spicewood, Texas, where Willie Nelson lives and has a ranch, back 15 years ago approximately. Okay, so we bought with part of that money, my dad bought a 16-acre ranch, and then that was like our headquarters out there. And my next door neighbor co-founded Farm Aid with Willie Nelson, and he had a satellite TV truck, and he still does a satellite TV business. So if you're having a concert, you know, he can broadcast it to television live. Okay, so I got to know him, and he said, "Why don't you call my friend in Hawaii, James Kimmel? He knows Willie out there, Willie in Maui. He's known Willie for 30 years or so. They've been friends." And so I called him, I met him, and James Kimmel, you know, same name as Jimmy Kimmel. He wrote a book about world peace, and he'd been talking to Willie about world peace for 20 years. And so they created a foundation called the Willie Nelson World Peace Foundation. Okay, so I'm connecting that back to Willie Nelson's grandson. So, what's her name? So Willie Nelson's daughter, so I met her uncle. He invited me and my dad to Willie's concert. We got in the backstage. So this Kenny Koepke, he is the stage manager, security for 30 years on the road all the time. And so he got us into the backstage, and we sat there for the whole concert, and it was really awesome. We were like 15, 20 feet away from Willie. And let's see, that was before my dad had dementia. So he met my dad. I gave him my dad's book because 2 of his family members had type 2 diabetes. And so I gave him 2 copies around Christmas that he was going to give to him. And then, let's see, the way I met him is that his wife had been married to Kip Turner. Kip Turner cleared our whole ranch of overgrown trees and stuff. You know, he did like those big equipment that like tractors and stuff. Okay, so then I got to know him over 10 years and be friends with him. And then, you know, his ex-wife married Kenny. Then I got to know Kenny. Then now Kip started working for Willie's daughter. Kip did. He's been working there for a few years on their like ranch in Austin. Okay, so I'm trying to reach Kip right now because I realized, so I got involved with talking to the Willie Nelson Peace Foundation, and the guys running it were friends of James Kimmel. And so they were doing a bunch of research which found that all war and violence is caused by people that are super traumatized. Like, they got abused growing up, and it leads to them being psychopathic. And so they go to war, they start wars, and so that's all of our leaders and everything. Excuse me, the battery's getting low, and I only have a few more minutes here. It's gonna be dark. Okay, hang in there. All right, so they wrote a whole awesome report which explains how to have world peace, and I got it right here. I printed it out. I printed it out back then, and I just printed it out again. So, you know, I told him about Dr. Bruce Perry, Peace on Earth in Our Lifetime. So it's all about, if you stop child abuse and abuse of women and children, then you can end the cycle of violence globally. And so that's what we're talking about. But we could never get funding back then, and so it kind of like has been on hold since then. Okay, so James Kimmel was going over to Willie's house all the time, over in Maui, every time Willie was in Maui. But he kept going over there and smoking so much pot with Willie that finally his wife said, "Don't come back anymore because you keep getting my husband stoned and he's useless," or something like that. Okay, so, and then James died a couple years ago. So, but I'm running out of time, so I can't tell everything I was going to get to right here. Okay, but Starlight, I want to use Starlight to get the whole world's attention and fund Willie Nelson's Peace Foundation and feed hungry kids. There's millions of kids across the country right now that are going hungry because there's not enough food in the schools, and the lunch is inadequate or terrible, or their parents are going hungry, and then they're getting misdiagnosed as having ADHD and put on amphetamines. Okay, so that's what I tried to get in the White House in 2003, but they just totally slammed the door. And so since then, millions of kids have been put on amphetamines. Okay, so here's the chart that shows that ADHD has the same symptoms as PTSD. All right, I put it together 20 years ago and lined up a whole bunch of experts and contacted them who created the concept of post-traumatic stress, like Dr. Bruce Perry, who wrote this book with Oprah a few years ago. So I contacted him in 2008. What happened? This is all about the cure for post-traumatic stress and ADHD. Okay, so these guys that wrote the World Peace Plan with Willie Nelson's foundation, they were running the foundation for 3 years. So they put Bruce Perry in there, so maybe my input contributed to this report. Okay, so I've been telling my friends that are in this group, you know, Kathy Knoll, Mark Summer, about Starlight for over a year now. And I said, if you stay in this group, you can have a percentage of Starlight. So I put aside 10% of the company, and we're about to get a lot of money from NASA because they've been working on Starlight for 30 years and they're already using it in a bunch of their programs. Okay, the story goes on. All right. I met President Clinton in 2008. I got his autobiography right here inside. He signed the book. His cousin, Dr. Raymond Clinton, he's a deputy director of the Marshall Space Center, has been working with Starlight for 30 years. I talked to him on the phone 10 times, but he wouldn't fund us, okay? All right, but I'm lining up a whole bunch of people, and they have a bunch of celebrity friends. Some of them lost their house in the fires. So Paris Hilton is one of them. Paris Hilton is on a mission to help kids that are getting overdrugged because she was misdiagnosed as having ADHD. Her really good friend, Bella Hadid, was also, after 2003, diagnosed as having ADHD. At the time, she was part of the Beverly Hills Housewives. Let's see, or maybe that was right after it with Yolanda Hadid. Okay, so I've got about 10 different friends that know these people that I'm talking about. So my friend Bonnie Canner, I've been talking to for 10 years. She's working with us. She was the executive producer of special effects on 30 of my favorite movies of all time. Look her up. So she's on board. She lost her house in the fires down in the Pacific Palisades, right on the ocean, and she's fighting to get a full compensation. Okay, Paris Hilton lost her house. Now she moved into another house. Okay, remember the story of the 3 pigs and the wolf? She's still in a house that's highly vulnerable to fire. Starlight is already in a paint by Sherwin-Williams. It's available. Okay, Paris Hilton and all the celebrities could have fireproof houses within about a month or 2. So, I'm working on getting through to them. This video may go to them, like I said. So Bonnie Canner's her son went to school, high school in Malibu with Gigi Hadid and Bella Hadid. Okay, a few years ago, Bella Hadid, after years, 10 years of depression and suicidal depression almost, addictions, etc., she realized, she doesn't have ADHD, she actually has PTSD and amnesia for her childhood, just like I do. Okay, so throughout high school, my friends that knew me didn't know, I went to Merrill S for 2 years, my first 2 years, then I transferred to Rolling Hills, because Steven Richter started bullying me. All right, so we had an incident where my dad hit my brother, punched him in the mouth. That was my first year of high school. So I was had severe anxiety for the next 4 years of high school. I was hiding in the library every single day. Steven Richter, who was my really good friend from Rolling Hills Country Day School, where I went with Bruce Lee's son, Brandon. Okay, so he got pissed off because, his friend abandoned him and I was hiding all the time and he didn't understand it. And so he and his friends started bullying me. That was why I transferred to Rolling Hills High School. Okay, so when kids have anxiety, it's just a sign of toxic stress overload. Now, I read Heidi's Facebook, and her family shared, her daughter shared, she has severe anxiety for the last 10 or so years. Maybe, see, these things are just, they're signs that you're healthy, actually. Oh my God, it's getting so dark. This is the end, my friend. Okay, I'm running out of time. Okay, is there anything else I have to get to? Okay, last thing. Oh my God, it's even too dark to show you. Okay, my really good friends, Austin, Texas. Oh my God, it's blurry too now because it's dark. 500 acres. I've been talking to her for 10 years. Her family has 500 acres. They want to open a healthy living program. We're going to turn it into a retreat for special people, groups of teens, even some grown-ups that got out of the foster system, veterans, maybe 100 veterans for a month, celebrities. So Paris Hilton, Bella Hadid, Gigi Hadid, 10 of their best friends have shared publicly about their toxic stress overload. Taylor Swift, she's got 15 to 20 life-threatening stalkers, 20 bodyguards that are on rotation. So Bella Hadid, okay, this is the really good news. Okay, so a friend of my sister's best friend, I don't know if you know her, she was the vice president of J. Crew. So she's a good friend of Bella Hadid. Bella Hadid, just about a year ago, said that she's got a new boyfriend she's in love with. He's a cowboy in Texas. And she wants to be part of a healing program. They have equine therapy they've been contributing money to. They had an event. Vice President Jenna Lyons. So my sister was best friends in high school. Jenna Lyons, she's good friends with, she was at the event about a year ago. So I'm going to be inviting all of them to help build the resort, and film the whole thing, and turn it into a healthy living retreat where people can go hang out, get healthy for a month or two or longer. So I'm inviting you guys to all be part of it. So the owners of the ranch, who are my friends, they said, Chris, if you bring in the down payment, we'll fund 70% of it. So we don't even have to go to the bank. So, let's see. Any of you guys have got stress problems, health challenges, go out there for a few months. It's got a beautiful river running through it. Deep, wide. The cleanest river in the United States. San Marcos River, I think. So, a couple miles of it. 1,000 acres adjacent is for sale. We may go after that too. So, it'll take a few months to put in the concrete for different communities around it. Put up deluxe teepees or deluxe cabins that you can put up, bring it in and put it up in a few months, maybe quicker. And we're going to film the whole process. So, anything else? I know I'm jumping around a lot. Maybe I'll do a part 2, sort of second version, and see if I can do it better. Or maybe this is good enough. Shoot, anything else? Yeah, I was just surprised. So I was trying to call Willie Nelson's brother-in-law and Kip Turner, who's working for Willie's daughter. Okay, last thing. So 10 or so years ago, Willie Nelson's daughter, dang, I'm blocking on her name right now. So Heidi Markel's sister is the agent for, I think, her son, and they were working together on a documentary about Willie a few years ago. Okay, so she had a dream about world peace. Before they created the World Peace Foundation, she had a dream about world peace and about a song about world peace. Then she told her dad about it, then they wrote a song about world peace, and then they sang it on video, and then they shared it with the world, and then they invited other people to sing the song about world peace. Take Back America is one of the lines in it. Come on, America, let's take back America. Let's take back America. So then they created the foundation, then I got in contact with them, then I tried to create some fundraising events, but it never came together. Okay. So really, what I'm doing is I got a massive library on health, including my dad's book. And so we're going to create a series of events at the Palazzo d'Amore up in Beverly Hills. That's the starting place. So Paris Hilton, she knows the billionaire owner, Jeff Green. Her good friends, Gigi and Bella Hadid, their dad built it. So they all know the billionaire owner, Jeff Green. I called him and talked to him twice. He lives down in Mar-a-Lago. Okay. I said, hey, I want to tell you about the Pritikin Longevity Center. Most illnesses are reversible there. That was a few years ago. So I talked to him twice on the phone. I shared the idea. So now we're working on bringing it together. So like I said, I've got 10 different connections to this group of friends. And Yolanda Hadid, Bella Hadid, Gigi Hadid, and the whole family have got severe Lyme disease. Okay, so I got Yolanda wrote an autobiography. So just few months ago, Google it. Yolanda Hadid, Bella Hadid was in the hospital, or in the doctors, very, very sick from it. So they need the cure now. They're looking for the cure. Okay, the cure is in these books, and I'm bringing all these people together who have it. Okay, one last thing. So Dr. Canham, who was my dad's doctor, okay, he wrote this book here called Anatomy of an Illness. So Norman Cousins, back in the 1970s, got really, really sick from an immune dysfunction illness, okay? Just like Yolanda Hadid and her whole family. Your immune system is not fighting off whatever the hell's going on, right? So what he did is he was like super busy working all the time, and so he thought maybe I'm getting sick from stress. So he went into a beautiful hotel for a few months, exercise, great diet, massage, and he watched a bunch of happy movies, laughing, laughter therapy. Really, he cured himself. The doctors told him he was going to die within a couple months. He cured himself. He wrote a whole book about it called Anatomy of an Illness. It was a bestseller. UCLA gave him an honorary doctorate. He became an MD and a professor there. Oops. What the hell is that, a mosquito? All right. Let's see. He met my dad. He started working with my dad. He endorsed my dad's book. What am I getting to? My dad's doctor then a few years later, Norman Cousins had a heart attack, and then he went to Norman Cousins. Then with exercise and healthy living, he again recuperated. Then he wrote another book. I've got it. So then Dr. Canham, in that book, Dr. Canham wrote the introduction, and he wrote, quote, doctors need to figure in, I'm paraphrasing terribly, all illnesses could have a factor of stress and exercise, etc. in it, and diet, and wise doctors will consider these things. Okay, but then when my dad became his doctor, he didn't do that, unfortunately. Okay. Sid Caesar had a heart attack. David Canham became the doctor. He got way better. Then he wrote a book with Larry King in which he told the whole story about it. Okay, that's another story. Okay, all right, I'm gonna quit now. Okay, I don't know what's gonna happen, if anybody's gonna watch this. All right, but again, you know what, I'm gonna quit. Okay, I got stuff I didn't get to here. I'm gonna try to get to it later. Jimmy Carter, oh my God, I got his book here. Okay, I met him. This is signed. I gave him my Middle East peace proposal. Okay, we're gonna talk about that. Bella and Gigi Hadid have been talking about peace in the Middle East. Fortunately, they've taken a little bit too much of one side only. All right, I gave Jimmy Carter my peace proposal. He agreed he was gonna read it, but nothing came of it. But it's really good. I hope you'll take the time to hear about it in my next video. But they've been getting a bunch of death threats ever since. So they're really stressed out. And so that's what we want to come together. I want to get the whole world's attention with the story of Starlight. Okay, all I got to do is get in the news with the story of Starlight, and then Boeing is going to owe me $100 million. I got to tell you the whole story and you're going to understand. So Starlight was news all over the world in the 1990s, but the news people have been blocking us out. So a couple weeks ago, I put this video in our Facebook group, Mission Starlight. Okay, Jimmy Kimmel got canceled because he freely spoke his opinion, which maybe was wrong. And then he got put back on because everybody was screaming, free speech, freedom of the press. Okay, so the night that he was back on, I showed up there with the story of Starlight in an envelope, and I tried to pass it out to all the news people that were there, like almost 10 of them. So half of them said no, more than half, and I got them on camera. A few of them said yes, including the NBC guy. So he was really nice. So now they're gonna have an opportunity, put the story of Starlight in the news, and then we're gonna get $100 million, and I'm gonna put a bunch of it into peace projects like in the Middle East, Palestine, Israel, feed hungry kids all across the country, and demonstrate what could be done if you do that. So, and I need your help getting through to Heidi. Okay, in 5th grade, all right, the reason why I remember so well is because it was like the first female I felt totally like in love with. So, you know, she remembers that moment, I think. All right, so I saw her at the reunion, and then after the reunion, we walked down to the bar where everybody met, you know, arm in arm. It was really cool for me, because she was like one of the first celebrities that I knew, you know. Oh, it's Heidi. Oh my God. So, along with Kathy Nolan, Christine Gervais, who I saw him at the 20-year reunion, and I told them all, oh my God, I can't believe, I think I'm gonna faint. Okay, so, and then Christine gave me a hug. The first time I was ever more than like 6 feet close to her. Okay, but since then I've developed a lot more confidence. I've gotten my ideas into 5 presidents and their team since 2003. Trump, Bush, Clinton, Carter, Obama. And they all slammed the door, and their advisors. Some of their advisors loved it. Okay, but we can talk to all of them. We're gonna be talking to all of them and recontacting all of them. So, but with a team, like Spencer Krieger, I sat with him at lunch. So that's another story. See, if we go down to him and say, hey, can you help us out with this? I got a whole plan on that. So anyway, I got it on video. I gave it to the news guys. I posted it. And I told them that 3 years ago, I gave the same information to Fox News guy, Phil Schumann. I got him on video 3 times, and he refused to do the stories. Okay, so now he's MIA. He's never on anymore. So, but anyway, we can do it. All right, teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, you guys. In addition to Starlight going on all the celebrities' houses, they can go on all their jets. So most of them have jets, and every single private model of jet that I've looked up has had a crash where people burn to death. They survive the crash, but then they burn to death. So Starlight can make a fireproof coating on the outside. So the Hadids are friends with the Kardashian family. Kim Kardashian was dating, who's that guy from that band, Blinked. He was in a crash, and he survived in a private jet, and then the pilot burned to death, and then he got burns over 70% of his body. Travis Barker. And so, crazy story. Okay, so they all know that they're at risk. And our stolen technology was given by Boeing to a company called FlameSeal in Houston. They sold millions of dollars of stock, built a 10,000 square foot plant in Houston, right down the street from Chuck Norris. Then they did an infomercial with William Shatner. You can see it on my YouTube channel, saying somebody came to me with this invention that didn't work, but then I reverse engineered it and made it work, and now it's going to go on to every Boeing jet in the world. So all you got to do is watch that one infomercial on my YouTube channel, and you can be proven beyond a shadow of doubt that Starlight's going to go on to every jet in the world, and William Shatner is going to be on our team because he is a stockholder, guaranteed. Because when celebrities go into infomercials, they always get free stock. Okay, except they did that infomercial over 10 years ago, and it was in the news. FlameSeal has gotten approval by the FAA for the fireproof coating to go into every jet in the world. But it never happened. So as soon as we get in the news, it's going to go into every jet in the world. So if you remember, it was just 6 months ago, a jet crashed in, was it Korea, I think? And everybody survived. And then it hit a brick wall. And then a bunch of people died in the brick wall thing, I think. But then a few people survived, and they said that people burned to death that were alive. Okay, so that hasn't come out yet. Okay, but I got the inside word because I met the guy who's running the investigation. His cousin is running the investigation over there in Korea. Well, that's what he told me. So anyway, Ethiopia Airlines, that was caused by fire. Anyway, I've got my proposals to 5 presidents plus Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was governor, through Christine, his daughter, because I met her in person in Austin at her book signing, and I got the book right here that was signed by her. Good to meet you, Chris, or whatever. Okay, and Robert Kennedy, because I got a picture with him. So, but once again, everything's lining up. Sorry about the terrible quality for the ending, but seriously. Okay, stress reduction. Some of you, because people that run the country have been driving up the prices of everything, and some of us are just barely getting by. Okay, so, and we've had millions of dollars stolen since then, since the beginning. So that's why we're just a little bit struggling, okay, but we're doing fine out here. We got $1 million house in Austin. We're about to sell and put it into that ranch. It's subdivided, so you might end up with a free, like, plot there, okay? So anyway, okay, I'm gonna let you go, okay, because I got a whole lot more to say, okay? This is all facts. Again, Starlight was in BBC News. It was all over the world. It was in BBC News just 10 years ago, okay? And you can see, like, an hour-long video in different segments, and I talked to them for an hour, and they wouldn't say one word. Oh, but I'm in Fresno Public Radio. Okay, you can hear that. And I said in the Fresno Public Radio interview 6 or so years ago that all I need is just a task force of like 10 or 20 or 30 people, and then get in the news, and then Starlight is going to be all over the world. So think about it, okay? Thank you for listening.